Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start. Hello, horse guys and gals. Oh my gosh, this is so weird. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see, and maybe you can just tell if you're listening on Spotify that I got a new microphone set up, and it's so weird. So I was using that like pink headset, and for one, I got it at Five Below, and it's like falling apart. But I've been wanting to have guests on, and in order to do that, I needed another microphone. So I bought a new one, and this one was literally like $30 at Target, but I've been messing around with it, and it has a spot on the back that you can plug headphones into. So that's why I have my headphones, so I can hear the sound that's going into the microphone, which is literally like how all the podcasters do it now. Like that's all you see on like podcasters videos and stuff, is they have their headphones and their mic. But I've never done this before, and it's so weird hearing my voice go into the microphone, and the quality sounds so good. So let me know if you guys like it. Hopefully it sounds pretty good. I can hear like all of my mouth sounds right now, so that's making me a little uncomfortable. Um, and the microphone is not turned up very high at all, but it sounds really loud. So hopefully it's not too quiet for you guys listening, but for me it sounds really loud. And it's making me have like ASMR vibes, like how people just like move their tongue around in the microphones for ASMR. That's the like feeling it's giving me. So hopefully we're not doing that. But yeah, I got a new mic. Dude, this whole podcasting thing, this is really hard to like to get to make it sound better, and to like get it more, I don't want to say professional, just like better, a better podcast basically is what I'm trying to say, because I've been wanting to have guests. And my friend Melanie said that she would come on, but in order to do that, I need to have two microphones. And getting, for one, I have this one. If you're watching on YouTube, this is the one I was using for a long time on my other computer. This one doesn't freaking work on my new computer. I don't know what it is. It's a Vexon. It's like I've had it for quite a while, but it's just like a microphone, and like it worked. I know it worked on my last computer, so I don't really understand why it doesn't work on this one. It's got the old style jack on it, like this. Almost like a headphone jack, like just the round pointy thing. And so my new computer doesn't have like a microphone input like this. So I bought an adapter, like a USB adapter like this, so I can plug it in on one end and then it turns it into a USB, right? It doesn't work. Like I don't get it, but this setup like just doesn't work with my computer, which is really bizarre because I got it to work like a couple weeks ago when I bought this new one, cuz I wanted to try to get them both like working properly with sound, and I got it to work. So it worked for like a day, and then I started to plug it in again to see if I could get them both to take sound in at once, and then it won't work anymore. So I don't know what the deal is with this, but like it's so frustrating because like they would both work if this one, it's like my computer won't receive sound from this one. But this one works perfectly fine. And they're both USB things like this. So I don't know if it has something to do with the adapter, but dude, technology is so rigged. There are some people that are so good at it and just like understand everything about computers and how they work and how they take in sound and how they put out sound. But like my new computer is all USB ports, right? So even when I have my microphone plugged in like this right now, if I want to listen to the sound I just recorded, I have to unplug all my microphones, because otherwise it thinks I have a speaker plugged in and it will play, but it won't play so I can hear it. It's trying to put it into my microphone because it thinks it's a speaker. Oh, it's so annoying. So anyway, I could not get this to work, and I don't know how to get my computer to take in sound from two microphones at one time. I was trying to look it up on YouTube, and there's a bunch of videos on how to do it on an Apple, but I don't have a MacBook. So this is just a PC. I think it's like a gateway PC. It's a pretty nice computer, but it's more like a notebook style. Um, and yeah, I just haven't figured out how to get my computer to allow me to use two microphones. Oh, I bought this too. if you're watching on YouTube. I bought this thing on Amazon the other day, which is a USB hub, so I can plug multiple USBs into it, but it only plugs into one. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this will like take in the information from both microphones and just put it into one USB port. So maybe it will take the sound from both. No, it doesn't. My computer still just recognizes them as, it just takes it like the microphones individually. So I don't know. Hopefully you guys didn't just hear that notification sound that came up on my computer. Sorry if you did. Again, I'm experimenting. I'm using a new program too. Gosh, you guys, this is so complicated. Like I'm using just the sound recorder on my computer. So this is kind of a test run episode. I don't know how it's going to come out, but I'm using just like the sound recorder on my computer because Spotify, I use the Spotify, what's it called? Spotify for podcasters thing most of the time, where you can just record your sound right on Spotify and then you just put the clips together and boom, it's an episode. But you can only pick one microphone to use. So I'm testing around, seeing if there's different programs that will allow me to use two microphones, or if I can figure it out in my settings. I don't know. Send help, SOS, please, for all of you tech folks out there that know how to do this stuff, because I don't. So I might just have to order another microphone like this too. This one was really inexpensive. It was $30 from Target, and it's the Heyday. Oh, sorry, my camera's shaking around. It's the Heyday brand. This was the box it came in. And I really like the sound of it, at least from what I can hear. I'll have to listen back on this episode, or you guys tell me how it sounds if you like it better. But so far it sounds really nice, I think. So, anywho, today's episode, I just want to sit down with you guys and talk about my problems like I usually do, horse girl problems. But yeah, so that's my guest dilemma that we're having. I can't really have guests on until I get all that figured out. But today's Thursday. It's my day off. Also, I am kind of searching for a new job, so who knows what that's gonna bring. But tomorrow is Friday, and we are leaving for the Midwest Horse Fair. I'm so excited. We go every year now because Thomas will go with me, and yeah, it's really exciting. So there's definitely some people on my list that I want to watch. The Midwest Horse Fair is in Madison, Wisconsin, for those of you that have never been there or never heard of it. And it is basically just Friday through Sunday, a huge horse convention. They rent out like the entire fairgrounds in Madison, Wisconsin. And like Farm and Fleet has an entire coliseum. Like that's basically just theirs. And they have like a huge shopping center. And then they have all these clinicians that are there to do clinics, and you can watch them. They have a whole bunch of different breed demonstrations, tons and tons of shopping and vendors and stuff. Food trucks. They have like grand marches. They have all these drill teams that come and perform. It's like, it's great. It is like the equestrian event of the year, in my opinion. It's so much fun. And so Thomas has gone with me. I think this will be our third year. And he likes it. Like, I don't think he's dying to go every year, but he does really like to watch the draft horse stuff. He likes the draft horses. And we went to the Iowa Horse Fair a couple years ago, and he really liked watching the draft horse pull. So hopefully they'll have something like that. But Amber Lee Snyder is going to be there giving a clinic, so I definitely have her on my list that I want to listen to. But yeah, I don't remember who else. I looked at the schedule a few weeks ago to see who all was going to be there. I don't remember. I think, was it Chris Cox? We watched Chris Cox a few years ago. Actually, I think it was maybe just last year or the year before. And he was really, really good to listen to. So yeah, I'm just going to see what's there. And I do have some things on my list to look for too, for shopping. I really love in the Coliseum downstairs, like I don't want to call it the basement, but in the lower level, they have like a secondhand tack sale, and the proceeds go to like some 4-H group or something, I think. But there's just tables and tables and tables of used tack that I'm sure they got donated. and then just like racks upon racks of show clothes and breeches and just all kinds of stuff, boots, helmets. So I really want to go down there Friday if we get there in time and go look at that. But I have some stuff I want to look for. I need some Makati reins for one of the Bozell bridles that I have that I want to use. And then I need, what else was I going to look for? Of course, now I can't remember anything. I do want to look for, this might be a long shot, but I want to look around at some like therapy type products because I took Sugar to a body worker last week and she told me that she is thinking Sugar probably has some arthritis or just has some soreness in her hocks. So I want to look for like those hock wraps that are infused with like copper, or I've seen the magnetic ones. I don't really know if the magnetic stuff works. I asked this on TikTok and I didn't get a lot of response, but if anybody has had use or has had experience with those magnetic therapy products, let me know if you think that they work or not. I know there's like the sheets. I think that was on my list too, was like a magnetic sheet with all the little like magnets sewn into it. The hawk wraps, and even if I find like not the magnetic hawk wraps but copper ones, or there's like ceramic infused ones as well, any of those, like I'd be willing to buy secondhand just to see if they work or just to try them out. Some show shirts would be great. I can't remember what was all on my list now, but there are some things that I want to look for. So I'll be looking forward to that, and I'll try to vlog and get some footage while we're there. But yeah, that's just what I'm gonna be looking for. So super excited for the Midwest Horse Fair. If any of you guys are gonna be there, or if I like walk by and you think maybe you see me, just say hi or something. That'd be awesome. But yeah, so I think since I last saw you guys or last recorded an episode, I've had quite a bit going on. I have 2 client horses. I had Cowboy earlier this month. If you guys remember Cowboy, I had him last year and his owner brought him back this year for a 2-week refresher. I had him last year for 30 days, but she didn't think he needed a whole 30 days, and I don't really think he did either. So he was here for 2 weeks at the beginning of April for a 2-week refresher, and he did very well. And now I have a client horse here named Sunny, and I don't know what he is fully, but I know he's part thoroughbred. And he is here to be kind of started under saddle, and we'll see how that goes. He's like 18 years old, I think she said, so he's definitely older. And I think she got him from some rescue situation, so he's got his share of issues going on, but she said that he is super willing. He loves being around people, he loves attention, and he just, once you get working with him, he does a really good job and he's willing to learn. So she's like, I've done some work with him, like I've done groundwork with him, I've had a saddle on him a couple times, but putting like the first rides and actually starting them is kind of out of my knowledge range. So she brought him here to see if he could get started under saddle, and that way when they take him home, even if they just like putz around the farm and ride, or take their other horse out that he's super attached to and go on a little ride or something like that, they can. So we'll just see how it goes. He is very, very buddy sour, so that's something we're kind of working through, and he's learning how to function on his own. He's in his own pen right now, so like he's not penned up with anybody. And I think that it'll be a little bit different for him. It might be hard for him to adjust to, but it is like a life skill that we're gonna have to learn here. So yeah, so that's Sunny. And then I got Hazel back. So if you watch my YouTube videos, I think it was my last video, I brought Hazel home. So if you guys have not been following, Hazel I sent to a different trainer in January because I just didn't want her to go the entire winter sitting around doing nothing, because She does not do very well with that. Um, and that was kind of something I struggled with over the summer and fall last year, was just really keeping her on a routine schedule and making sure she doesn't go like long periods of sitting, because that's when she regresses the most. I don't know why. She's just one of those horses that, like, if you leave her sit, then she will like just forget everything you've ever taught her. So like I just didn't want to see her sit all winter long doing nothing, and I don't have an indoor, so like it makes it really tough here, and I don't really have a proper like arena setup either. So it makes it really tough here with the mud and the rain and the snow and everything to actually be able to consistently work her. So I just decided, I'm going to spend the money on her and just take her somewhere to somebody else that has an indoor, and just let them work with her through the winter. So I sent her in January. I just got her back beginning of April. So she's been here for, I don't know, a few weeks, I guess. And she's been doing really, really well here since she came home. I think she settled in really quickly. I think she's enjoying being out again. I think she was probably in a stall majority of the time at the other trainers. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. But yeah, she seems to just be like really happy and have a good attitude, and like she seems very like, I don't know, she just has like a good attitude, I guess. And so I've done some groundwork with her, and then Melanie helped me over the weekend. I actually got on her and did a little bit of a ride on her. Since I haven't ridden her since she's been home, and this is a new environment with, a different person, me, even though she knows me, like she's been working with somebody else. So new people, new environment, different arena setup. We're outside, we're not indoors. I didn't want to just like climb on with nobody here. So Melanie was here. She helped me out a little bit. She put, I got on her and she sent Hazel out like on the lunge line, and we did that, and she did really, really good. We had one spook. I don't know exactly what spooked her. I think Melanie like dropped the whip or like stepped too fast or something and spooked Hazel. And then while I was on top of her, I think caused her to spook more. But I stayed on. I didn't come off or anything, and she recovered from the spook really well, actually. She like, once she was done with her spook, she was like, oh, maybe that was dramatic. And so I told Mel, well, we can't end off on that note, so walk me around the ring a little bit more. So we did a couple more laps, and then Hazel seemed like she was fine and not bothered anymore, so then I got off. But yeah, she's been doing really good. You know what's funny is her and Rojo have been like best buds. So it's kind of weird. It was not a pair that I was expecting, but her and Rojo have been like scratching each other's backs. I think I've caught them like 3 or 4 times now, scratching each other's backs, or like her head will be resting on his back. And then when I feed them at night, Rojo like follows her to her feed stall and stands there with her. It's so funny. But yeah, they've become like best little buds. It's so weird. So yeah, they're like newfound lovebirds, I guess. But I feed her and BB grain at night. And Hazel has done really well. She just marches right into her feed stall, which she never used to do very good in the feed stall because it was like a small space and she would freak out. But she's been doing really well. I think being at the trainer and being in a stall was good for her because, like I said, she just didn't do well with small spaces and stuff. So I think being in a stall regularly and being confined and being in a barn was really good experience for her. So she comes right into the feed stall and she comes right up to me and lets me scratch her. She has been a little bit of a pain in the butt to catch. At least she was last time, and I think probably because she's outside again, she's like, oh, I have all this space that I can just walk away from you. But she never used to be hard to catch, so I'm hoping that's just a phase that she'll come out of. But I am feeding her just a little like handful of grain at night with some supplements. She gets a vitamin E and selenium supplement, and then she gets Viacalm, which has magnesium in it, and then salt. I'm giving them some dewormer right now. And then that Equifly stuff, what's it called? I think it's just called Equifly, where it's like the feed through like fly supplement, which I got it on clearance. So that's the only reason she's getting it. But the trainers that had her on a vitamin E and selenium, magnesium, just a combination supplement, which really helped her get her coordination and her balance back. If you guys remember when I sent her there, she was sick, which was like a weird time to have to send her, but like we had already planned it out and that was the date she was supposed to be going, and I had already postponed it a week, and my vet said like she should recover, like being off of the bad hay that was making her sick. So she had lost a lot of balance and coordination and couldn't like totally walk properly, which did not turn to be out EPM. So they put her on that supplement and they said it helped her a lot. And one thing they told me when I picked her up, because we were kind of talking about it and I wanted to keep her on the supplement and stuff, was horses with IMM. I guess that trainer, he has a couple horses with IMM, which is what BB has. And he told me put BB on that supplement as well because it's really helped our horses with IMM not regress, which BB hasn't really regressed. She just doesn't have as much muscle tone as she used to. But I went ahead and put her on it anyway. So if you guys are looking for the supplement, I'll try it. If I remember, I'll link it down below. I got it off of Chewy and it was really inexpensive. It was like $12, I think, for the can that I got, which some of these vitamin E, selenium supplements, and the magnesium supplements are kind of expensive. So I found this one on Chewy and I've been giving it to both of them and it's lasted me almost all month. So, and it's only like half gone. So I'll leave it linked down below if I remember to. And so you guys can look at it if you want to try it. But then I use the Viacalm for Hazel as like her magnesium, basically her magnesium dose, which Viacalm isn't crazy expensive either. It's pretty reasonable. So yeah, speaking of supplements, I've also been looking into CBD for sugar. And we actually have a boarder at the barn that I work at that feeds CBD to her mare that is super arthritic and at a pretty young age too. I think her mare is like 21 this year, but she's so arthritic that she can't even ride her anymore. The horse has a really hard time standing for the farrier because she can't bend her knee up, and like her arthritis is really bad. So she put her on this CBD supplement just recently, and I work at the barn, so I see these horses every day. I've seen a very noticeable difference in her horse since she started this supplement. I mean, the horse goes outside and runs around now. She rolls a lot more, which was part of her problem, is the horse wasn't laying down. And so she's been rolling, she's been running around, she's been trotting back up to the gate, and it's like a complete attitude change in this horse since she started these CBD supplements. So I'm thinking for sugar, for her hock issue, if that ends up being what it is, to put her on a CBD supplement. So that's another thing I was gonna look for at the horse fair, was like CBD vendors, and see if there's a good option. CBD is not cheap though, so I don't know. I'm gonna look around to see if like oils would be cheaper, or not necessarily cheaper but better, or like they last longer versus pellets. So let me know what you guys think, or if any of you have experience doing CBD. I'd be very interested to know what the effects are or how well it works for your guys' horses. But yeah, so those are some updates for you guys on the horses. Yesterday, was it yesterday? What is today? Yeah, I think it was, no, the day before, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday afternoon. We had like some crazy weather come through, which I think maybe the news hyped it up a little bit more than it should have been, which they do a lot these days. But we had some like storms, like tornadic storms come through Iowa. And there were actually places that had tornadoes throughout Iowa, but we luckily, actually, I think there was one spot of rotation that they found 10 or 15 miles from here. So I guess I'm glad I did prep for it, but based on everybody's damage compared to our damage we had at our house, it didn't seem like that bad. which is one reason I'm grateful for all the timber that we live in, even though it's a pain. It at least like really shields us from the wind and harsh weather. So we did have some tornadic weather conditions come through Iowa yesterday, and I don't know how everybody else does it, I guess. I've seen some different methods for prepping for tornadoes. Let me know if you guys have any like good suggestions, but I personally go out and I try to put halters on as many horses as I can. Um, and I have like some of them have my phone number like sharpied onto the halter, and I really only do this because our place has so many trees. I get really paranoid and worried about trees falling down. And if trees fall down on the fence, like horses could get out, or, I don't know. They probably wouldn't. They probably wouldn't try to climb over a fence with a tree on top of it, but they could. And so I always go out and I put halters on the ones that I can. And just in case anyone were to get out, they could be caught fairly easily. But I've seen a lot of different methods, and as we're getting into like severe weather season or nadir season, whatever you want to call it, um, there's always like different methods people are using to put identifiers on their horses. Like I had a friend I saw on, she put on her Snapchat story that had like luggage tags, and she banded them into her horse's mane. I've seen that before, or like people that use the cattle ear tags and they put them in their horse's mane. Um, I always worry about them like ripping them out or rubbing them out somehow, but they probably don't. And then I've seen some people sharpie their phone number onto the horse's hooves. I worry about that just like rubbing off or just getting wet and coming off, like especially if they're in the mud or something. Or you won't be able to see it if they're covered in mud. But let me know what you guys do. I think it's good for us that, especially us that live in the Midwest, to have different options on how we can prepare our horses for like severe weather. And we left all the horses in the barn at work. But personally, I prefer to just put all horses outside when like severe weather's coming. A few years ago, we had a derecho come through Iowa that just literally ripped apart everything. It was like the worst storm to come through. It was like I think derecho is like a degree lower than what would be considered like a tropical storm, which is then considered a hurricane once it's big enough. But yeah, they referred to it as a derecho. And that just like tore apart everything. And a lot of people just put their horses outside because it was so severe. But that's what I prefer to do, because if your horses are stuck inside in the barn and the barn comes down, like you're really risking it, especially like for boarding facilities that have all these other people's horses. It's really the best thing to just put them all outside, because at least then if like the barn flies apart or their shelter flies apart, like they can at least run and get away from it, or like have a chance to um, to find safety. But like if they're just trapped in a barn, they don't have that option. So just put your horses outside during bad weather. It seems like backwards, but like just put them outside. They'll be fine. If they can take care of themselves, they'll be fine. So yeah, whatever tips you guys have for like tornado or severe weather prep, let us know in the comments, because it's just going to be that time of year here shortly, especially like right now. We've had a lot of 70-degree days and we've had a lot of like 40-degree days. So like the hot and cold are just like combating, and um, it's tough. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. But we've got a lot. I don't think we lost any trees, thankfully. I haven't walked all the way out in the timber yet, but I haven't seen any trees down like in, our pens or in the little pasture area that I have fenced in. I think we're pretty good that way, but I've been doing a lot of pasture cleanup. I've been doing a lot of like redoing fences, because if you guys know, I have a lot of electric fence. That's kind of how I've put up all my pens, is electric fence, because it's so easy to put up and it's really portable. But oh my gosh, you guys, it's so much work that I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it not working. I'm tired of like stuff touching it and it doesn't work. I'm tired of like having to walk around it and maintenance it all the freaking time just to make sure it's working, or I don't realize that it's not working until horses break it and get out. It's just so frustrating. So I've been redoing a lot of it, and putting up like woven wire or panel type fence. And I've just been like the last month doing nothing but digging posts in the ground. And I dig all of my posts by hand. So the boarded horses behind our house, I'm redoing their fence right now. I kind of need an extra hand to help me with it, but I'm putting woven wire across the front of their pen where they break it all the time because they try to like push through to get the grass in my yard. So I'm redoing that. I redid the little pen next to our arena with all woven wire and I didn't take down all the electric. It still has one hot wire across the top, but I took down two of the hot wires there. And then my next plan is to do Sugar and Luna's pen. And then we'll just like have much less electric fence. But now I'm trying to talk myself into putting a small pasture back behind one of the pens that I'm gonna have to do electric for. I'm just like, why do I keep doing this to myself? But we've done a lot of pasture cleanup, a lot of fence improvement, and I actually took down most of the fence around my riding ring, and I'm gonna put up wood board fence. So my riding ring has just been 3 strands of wire. They're not hot, but that's what it's been for the last few years because it used to be a dry lot. I turned it into a riding ring, and like fence is not cheap. It's expensive, but I found a whole bunch of free wood posts from somebody on Marketplace. So I brought all those home. I dug them all in the ground, took out all the T-posts, and it's still wire around the perimeter, but I'm going to be putting in wood board fence. So that'll be exciting. Hopefully that works well. I think I'm going to use the money I get from Sunny to go buy the 2x4s to fence it all in with wood board. So hopefully that'll work well. And that'll be a lot safer for like riding Hazel and riding Sunny. Like nobody's going to go through it, at least hopefully not. But like just having wire fence, like, you know, a horse could send themselves right through that with no problem. So I really want it to be a solid like wood fence that will be a lot sturdier. So that's one of my current projects. And then at some point this year, I want to get sand and rock in there so that it actually has some footing. Same with my round pen. I want to get actual footing put in it because like this week we've just had a bunch of rain. So it's really hard to work with the horses in just the slick mud. So hopefully that'll get done at some point. But I just got a side-by-side, kind of accidentally, kind of not, but we had one at work that needed some work done to it. It wasn't in very good shape. And so I took it to see if Thomas could fix it. Thomas couldn't fix it, so we sent it to one of his buddies. And then my work bought a new one. So they basically told me if you want to pay the bill to get the other one fixed, you can just have it. So now I have a side-by-side, which will really be so nice, truly. It's going to cost money to get it fixed and like run really well, but it'll be so nice to have to do my fencing. And like if I don't have round bales, I can just zoom around to throw everybody hay or to do my chores or just literally whatever. So I'm really excited about that. So you guys might see that coming up in the future vlogs, but it's going to cost a lot of money to fix. So I got to kind of save my money for that, but that'll be really nice. That'll be our newest addition. So, okay. My last thing I wanted to talk about today is the Cowgirl Queens contest because it is that time of year where everybody is going to start having their Cowgirl Queen contests. So if you guys watched my vlog last year, I competed in the Cowgirl Queen for our local saddle club and I got runner up. So I was real close, and I think they did tell me that the scores were very close, and I think the main reason that I didn't get it was because I had broken my finger and I had a big like splint thing holding my finger in place on my one hand, so I had to ride right-handed, and generally it's proper to ride left-handed. So that probably had something to do with it. even though it was out of my control, I'm a little like not trying to throw a pity party for myself, but like really like my freaking hand was broken and I couldn't do anything about it. But anyways, I'm going to try again this year. I think I'm going to try with 2 different clubs. The club that I show with a lot and the one I got runner up with last year. There's like 5 or 6 of us this year that have signed up for the senior queen. And I know there's one girl in it that basically wins every year. And I hate to like be negative towards those people because they are working hard too. And, you know, they do a good job. So it's not like they don't deserve to win. But it does get really discouraging when like the same person wins every single year. It's kind of like, okay, why are any of us trying out then? And so I don't know. I've already signed up, so I'm probably just going to do it, but I don't have a lot of high hopes for it. And then I actually got asked to be on the committee for a different club. So there's another club, it's a bit farther away, but the president reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in being on their Queen's Contest committee. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I mean, I've only done one, but I'm always looking for ways to get involved. So I am on the committee, which I don't think will be a conflict of interest if I compete, because I said as long as like the same information of like expectations are provided to me as they are provided to everybody else, then I mean, it's up to the judge really on who, you know, who does the best. So nobody on the committee is going to be judging. So there's that. But I got asked to be on the committee, and we've had a couple meetings about it so far, which I'm looking forward more to this one because we're changing around the rules a little bit. So for Cowgirl Queens, it's usually marked like 50% of your score is based on your appearance and like your tack and your clothes. And that's, I think, why a lot of people struggle with it, is because it's very stigmatized as like a beauty contest, even though it's not supposed to be. But then when you're scored like 50% on your appearance, well, yeah, I mean, how could people not see it as a beauty contest? So it's usually scored like 50% on that, and then 50% on like your writing ability, like your rail work and stuff like that, which I get. So for this club that I'm helping with their contest, we sat down and had a meeting about like what we want the criteria to be, because each club can choose their own criteria. There's really only a couple rules that they have to follow at the state competition if they make it that far, but otherwise it's up to each individual club on how they want to score their contestants. So I'm like, well, if we are tired of people of other clubs making it a beauty contest, then let's not score it so high on that. So we're changing it to be like 50% your riding and your rail work, 50% your queen's run, because that's usually only like 10%. And I'm like, well, hello, that's like the whole point is your queen's run. So 50% riding skills, 50% your queen's run, 10% the application, and then 10% appearance. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think if that's the change we want to see, then we should make the steps to do that. So it's going to be scored a lot less on your appearance and, you know, how nice of tack you have and how shiny your clothes are and stuff like that. It is still going to be important that people have well-fitted tack and are looking presentable, you know, not just showing up in like holy jeans and like way too big of clothes. Like, you still have to make some effort, but it's not just like somebody that's riding their horse super poorly or has like blood marks from their spurs or something is getting scored better than somebody else just because they have more expensive equipment. So I'm excited for that. I'm probably going to compete in that one as well. And like I said to the other people on the committee, as long as like the same information that I'm being presented with is presented to everybody else, then it should be pretty fair. So yeah, so we'll have those coming up in the vlogs. I'm hoping that one of my lesson girls will want to do the junior queens because she is old enough, but I'll leave that up to her. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I'm hoping to get to some more shows this year. Oh, I have signed up for a clinic in July as well, by Matthew Job. We did a clinic with him a couple years ago, and I really, really liked it. So I'm hoping I can take Hazel to that, and I can ride her in that clinic, which will be really good for her. It's just like horsemanship, learning body control, and stuff like that. So it's a 2-day clinic, I believe. So I'm excited. Hopefully she'll do well in that. And then I'd like to take her to some endurance rides this year as well, just to get her some really long, hard, wet saddle pads. And she can kind of tag along with BB because she knows BB and they've kind of become friends. So that'll be really good for her. And yeah, so hopefully all that will come to fruition. I know a lot of years I make all these plans for the year and like only 3 of them happen. So I just got to stay focused and keep working hard, keep advertising for the client horses. I've talked to multiple people, but dude, you know what's so frustrating about the horse industry is that the tire kickers, there's so many tire kickers that like sound interested and they send you all these messages and ask you all these questions and then you never hear from them again. Or like people that are interested in lessons, you hear from them like twice and then they never contact you again. It's like, dude, why are you even messaging me? But yeah, I just gotta stay persistent with it. And hopefully once if I do this other pasture that I want to put in, that I'm trying to talk myself into, and I get a nicer arena set up and I get it sanded and get the wood board fence, like it'll be a little more attractive to like some other boarders. My 2 boarders that were here, or the 2 horses that were here, that came in January, left. So I don't know. They were moving, and so I think they found a place closer to where they were moving and whatever. But they basically left like day of notice, which was really annoying. But yeah, so I guess Sunny is occupying that pen right now, but once he goes home and if I have space for a couple more, then I would open board up to a couple more people. I have really considered doing like a work for board type thing, which I have done in the past at other places, and I'm really kind of considering doing it for my place, just to have, if somebody like wanted to bring a horse here and just be around to help me with my project horses, help me put in fence or do property cleanup or whatever, just like be a helping hand, somebody that I can have around, like do farm sitting while we're gone. Like I would probably do it, but I'm not 100% sure how to work that out yet. So especially with like my insurance and stuff, but it's a nice idea because it would be nice to have a second hand and just somebody here to help me, because it gets so exhausting trying to do all this work yourself and try to coordinate times with people to work horses so I don't have to do it by myself. And not that I can't, but it's a lot safer, with horses like Hazel or like with Sunny, if I get him started under saddle, it's a lot safer to have a second person around. If I get bucked off or if I fall off or whatever and get hurt, like there's just nobody here, nobody around, which I usually don't work with the green horses unless Thomas is home for that reason, just because I don't want to get hurt and just nobody be here. But it definitely would be really helpful to have a second hand, just kind of have an assistant basically. And, I could share some of the workload with them as well. But it's just been a thought. I don't know yet. I don't know if it'll happen, but it would be nice. So all right, guys, I really have to pee, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this episode. We're at about 45 minutes, so I think we've been here for a while. And let me know if you guys have any tips, any suggestions on my computer issue and how to get more than one microphone to work at a time so that I can have some guests on here, because Mel did say she would come on here and leave us some questions or some topic ideas either in the comments or however you do it on Spotify. I don't really know. But yeah, if you're listening, give us some tips, give us some topics. Let me know if you know how to work stupid computers, because I don't know how to do it. But thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you will stick around and stay for the episode with Mel, because it will come at some point. It will come. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.